Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from VidVersity, and we'll just wait till 12 o'clock and then I'll get started. As I work from my lounge room where the postman's just arrived, a dog across the road's run across the road. This is life in lockdown. Okay, so today, thank you everybody for registering. It's much appreciated. I've been doing quite a few webinars this week, and today is about a bit of a test drive of how to use VidVersity. What are the features? Why would you use it? Some hints and tips around it, that kind of thing. So the first thing is I just want to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind VidVersity. Then I'm going to boldly try and actually build a course. So I'm going to show you how to build a course. So the first thing to think about is what we are aiming to do is bringing the best of live training into an online world. We know we speak to people all the time and they tell us that face-to-face training is great, and it is. We all love it and enjoy it. But the reality is digital learning is really exploding, and I think COVID has shown us that what it can do and what it can't do. And one of the reasons we're a really big fan of video is it can really allow presenters to capture their style, their presenting style, rather than taking it away from the presenter, building a slide pack, doing all that instructional design and then producing it in a format that doesn't really represent the educator. So we feel that video is a really fabulous way to present. I mean, if anyone has tried to learn how to play the drums like me, or all these crazy things we've done in lockdown, make sourdough bread, we've all been learning from YouTube. Lots of us have. Well, that's what VidVersity is, capturing that concept, but in a more slick, professional, secure environment. So if you're thinking about adding video into your suite of options, we solve a lot of the problems around security, delivery, bandwidth, all of those kind of things. So that's sort of our philosophy generally. And we think good design is key. Now, one of the things that's been intriguing to me as someone who's been a presenter for very many years, and I didn't introduce myself, I probably should just give a bit of background. I always say that, it seems like in the olden days, as my kids say, I was a lawyer, but I always see that as a bit of a hiccup in my career. It wasn't something I liked, and I don't think I was great at it. So I very quickly went back and did an IT degree. And for about the last 20 years, I've been in education. And my first sort of big step into digital education was founding a business called CPD Interactive. And what that was, it was to provide professional development to lawyers online. And I went through this journey of I built things in Rise and Articulate and Captivate, all different things. But I kept thinking, what I want to do is build content that reflects the presenter. I want to really bring out that subject matter expert out and let them bring the content alive. And that's where I got into this video space. So I've been in this space for a number of years now, and I'm one of the founders of VidVersity, which is an Australian-based edtech platform. And it's the principles around this are video. So we've just spoken about video. The next thing is design. Good design makes great learner experiences. So it's not just about getting a video and dumping it out there for the world. It's about understanding design thinking and saying, we know that learners don't like doing too much passive stuff. So after about 5 minutes, they need to be engaged. They need to be involved in the learning. So VidVersity allows you to chunk it into chapters. We know that we need engagement, which is a word everybody uses and everybody says it needs to be engaging. But engagement really is involving the learner. So we need to have something that's engaging. VidVersity, we allow you to add interactions like quizzes and questions. And I'm going to show you all this in a moment. And we also need, when you're talking about things, we need documents to reinforce it, or websites. So if you're talking about a concept, learners need to be able to go and see that. So what the philosophy behind VidVersity is slightly different than if you've been traditionally using video in an LMS. Because the traditional approach is you might have some materials that they read and then they go over and watch the video and then they come back to something else. Our experience is seamless for the learner. The learner has one file to look at, whether that's a URL or a SCORM file. And everything they need goes through from start to finish. They never have to go out of that environment. And I'll have an opportunity for questions at any time. Feel free to put questions in there. You'll notice in the chat there already is a link to a virtual workshop we run on, so you can have a go at doing what I'm about to show you. But just we're thinking about the learner all the time. I'm a big fan of saying the learner is our customer. We've got to make sure we provide good customer service. So this is a seamless experience for the learner. So VidVersity has got all of these built-in features. So the other thing that we really wanted to make sure VidVersity did, so what is VidVersity? VidVersity is a cloud-based platform. It's a platform that is, we call it an end-to-end solution. So you're able to upload a video, you're able to edit a video, you're able to add interactions, you're able to deliver through our platform, or you can deliver in a learning management system. If you deliver in our platform, you get analytics around what's being completed. If it delivers in your platform, you'll get analytics inside your platform. So it's really an end-to-end solution that allows you to create training fast, but not skimp on the quality. You can create really good training effectively in a quick manner. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to take you through, we're going to try and build a course together. Now I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. If there's any issues, I'm hoping Tony, you're there, let me know. But over here, this is the VidVersity platform. So let's assume I'm going to take a problem to solve today, but what I want you to do is in your head, supplement it with a problem you're trying to solve. So what I mean by that is I'm going to assume that I'm in Victoria. I've been locked down, which feels like since 1950. And my job is I teach at a TAFE and I am needing to run a course on how to sharpen your knives for the hospitality course. So where would I start? So when I say supplement it with your problem, let's assume you've got to do some training for some doctors or you've got to do some induction training. Whatever it might be, this process, just supplement it with that concept. So over here is our platform. This is the platform. It's hosted here in Australia. And there's 3 steps to creating a course. You upload your video. Now, you can literally just upload any MP4 file that you've got. So if I went into there, I could just literally go into here and I could upload anything from my desktop. Alternatively, you can, if you want to, use your mobile phone to create content. And what you would do, or I could get anyone else to, so any one of you could download the VidVersity app on your phone right now. I could give you this code, RZ57221, and then you would click upload and that video would land here for me. So think about that if you were trying to do some collaborative development. You might have a team of 5 staff and you want the HR manager, the CEO, a number of different people to make a video for you because you're going to do a welcome induction session. They could each film with their phone, upload it, all the videos come into a central place. You can go up to 30 minutes, which is quite a lot with a video, and it would be uploaded into here. So that's quite an interesting concept. I should also point out, you can do really high quality videos too. If you want to do a high level production and you get access to a videographer, you could use that too. So any video you've got, that's your starting point. Once you've uploaded it, we have what we call a video editor. Now, if you've done video editing in your past, this you'd look at and say, wow, that's very simplistic. This is designed to be anybody. Anybody can use this. If you want to do really fancy stuff, then you might want to go out and get another editor, something like Movavi. But this is designed to be really simple. So subject matter experts can build their own content really here. So what I did this morning, so I have not built this course, I just got this from YouTube. This is just a demonstration. I uploaded this video. It's 15 minutes long on how to sharpen knives. Now let's assume this is your video. So there's two approaches to building this. You can make a whole lot of little videos, or like what I've done here, I've got one longer video, and then I've literally used the editor along here. And you'll see underneath, I've made smaller chapters. And the way I do that, you literally get to a point where you want to go and you say mark in, and then you would keep watching and you say mark out. And if I would name the video over here, so we just could call that test. And if I click on cut and save, you'll see down here, it's made a new video. All right, so this is not the same as the original one. We never cut the original. And you'll see down here, I've done a few. So I broke it into more bite-sized chunks. I literally did that an hour ago. So this morning I did two things. I uploaded a video and I made some PowerPoints. Once I've done that, I can literally go click, 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 and then down here, I'm going to call this sharpening knives. So I'm in the process of, so what have I done? I've uploaded a video. I spent a bit of time editing it, so I might have removed parts that I didn't want. And then secondly, I've edited it into smaller bite-sized chunks. And then I click on, I've chosen all of them, and I click on add. And you'll see up here, it says edit sharpening knives. And if I go to that, I have started the process of building a course. So I won't go into the course right now. I'm going to do a couple of things to it to show you. I mean, of course I make this look easy, but it is easy. And as you get more familiar with our process, it becomes possible to create content very, very fast that's very, very effective. So for instance, I'm a lecturer at Melbourne Uni in the law school. I make summary videos after every one of my classes, and I add this as a chapter. And by the end of the semester, my students have little videos which are a summary of everything that I've taught. And I always think as a student, that would be the dream for me. So quite I'm always saying to people, spark your imagination. Technology is not the answer. Technology should enable what you'd love to be able to do. So keep an eye, always have that at the back of your mind. I think our mindset needs to be, I was talking to Liz, my colleague, the other day, and I told this story this week as well. She bought a new iPad, and I said, how are you going? She said, oh, it's easy because I've got an IT team working with me. I said, an IT team? And she said, yeah, my 13-year-old, he can do any of it. That's mindset. That's a mindset that I will have a go at technology and I'm not frightened by it. So I really encourage subject matter experts, instructional designers, L&D educators to really just start thinking about, make the technology do what I'd love it to do. And that's using your imagination. Okay, I divert. Over here, I'm going to lock that chapter. So that means I've locked anyone out because this is a collaborative process, so other people could be working with me. Now, inside each one of these chapters, the kind of things that I would like to add to it to bring it alive. And there's a list. This is the instructional design element, the design thinking around it. First of all, I've chunked it up, so that's an interesting way. Already we've made it a better experience for the learner. But what else can I do to make it a better experience for the learner? The first thing is I'm going to add some PowerPoints because I'll do some introductions. And this is what I spent this morning doing. You can use our slide builder, which is very basic, but most people we find want their own branding. So they upload their own PowerPoints. That's to tell us that test video I just did is ready to use. So I'm just going to cancel that. Just give that a bit of a, that's the video I just cut. It's letting me know. And I would have got an email to say that's ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to add a slide. So this morning, what you do is you just get normal PowerPoints You save them as an image, and then you build them as slideshows. So I'm going to go into knives, which is an interesting, it's Liz, who's my colleague, she has her son, keep an eye out for him. Remember this name, Asher Vexler. He's going to be an amazing chef one day. And he loves his knives, he sharpens his knives. So that's where we got that idea from, a 16-year-old. Now in here, I've made some little slideshows. I've got a delivery man, just a minute. Pardon? Okay, that's fine. Yep. There you go. That's life online, isn't it? So that's a delivery person who insisted I sign. So I've signed through the window, basically. So the first thing I want to do is add some introduction slides. So I've already built those. These are the kind of steps I'm not going too granular. And I want them to appear at the beginning. I might want to add a subtitle. A subtitle is something that appears somewhere on the screen, so you choose where. And often the subtitle might be something like, I am Natalie Wheeland and I'm from VidVersity. So that's the kind of thing that you can put anything there, really. I'll just put the word note. Now with that one, you use the slides along here to decide where I'd like it to appear. And I'd like it to appear at about, let's do, I'll do it up here actually. Let's do 20 seconds. So what's happening at the moment? In my first chapter, I'm going to have a slide appear. I'm going to have a subtitle. A note is something that stops the video. So, and it will tell you, remember, it's the key takeaways. So as educators, we're always thinking, what are the key takeaways that we need to tell the person attending? But more importantly, the learner often says, I want something, a handout. There's something about humans, they love handouts. So if you put these, remember with your knives, whatever it might be, you have to be able to type, remove the burrs. Who knew that you had to do that? I was watching the video this morning. Click on save. Again, I'd like that to pop up at about 3 seconds. And you'll see up here that it's moving the video, so I'm getting a sense of where it's going to appear. All right, so I'll do that at 4 seconds. Resources are links to documents and URLs. So I might have a really good, I might have, let's say RMIT hospitality. I want them to be aware of that, for instance. So maybe I'm going to refer them to this particular degree. I could say click. I'm being very brave here doing a live online course, but this is a link here. Do I want that to stop the video or do I want it just to appear in the resource list? I might just have it just appear in the resource list. And then the last thing I can do is questions. All right, so if I click on add questions, I can do 4 style of questions. I can do true or false, multiple choice with more than one answer, and a fill in the blank. And by using the categories, you build question banks so you can reuse them. So I might say today is Monday, and I'll say that's false, and I'm going to put that question at, let's make that, I'm obviously would put this all throughout the video and much further down, but I know none of us are going to want to watch 20 minutes of anything. I'll put another question I might do. So again, always put it in a category. Always remove the. Now, fill in the blank, to me, as an educator, is one of the best ways to teach people or to test them and assess how they went, because you can't guess, all right? So it is an opportunity to really let the mind have a go. So I'm only going to do 2 questions for now, and they're both at 9 seconds. Now, in relation to questions, a lot of people will say to me, oh, that question's not particularly hard. When we're learning, excuse me, in a passive environment, and when I mean passive, the person is doing the training themselves, they're independently learning, it's really important, just like you would in a classroom, to constantly trigger things that the brain need to remember. So when we're watching a video, we watch it and all these other things are happening. The postman arrives, a dog barks across the road. So our brain is really, really busy. So we have to do things to say to the brain, that's an important thing to remember. You need to remember that. This is why interactions are good. They do two things. They engage the learner. There's nothing nicer if you're doing something that all of a sudden you're asked to be involved if you're learning something. But the second thing is it says to the brain, hold it, hold on, this is important. I'm being told to filter this out and remember it. So often the experience I do is I might pop up a note and say this, so that says this is an important key takeaway. And then I might quiz the person on that quite simply, but then further down the track, I'll be more difficult in how I question or assess them. So that process has been, I've told the brain it's important, I've made them do something to remember it, but then I've actually made something more applicable to how they're going to use it. So it's the trigger to remember, slight testing, application. And that's a really powerful way to teach learners. Okay, I'm going to go back over to here. For each one, I'm just going to add a slide. So I'll go, which I prepared this morning. So under knives, this one is a Sharpie trick, I think. I don't even know anything about this. I just thought it would be an interesting, something that I've got no idea about. And you're probably about now going, I have not a clue what you're doing. I don't know. So in a moment, I'm going to publish this and we're actually going to have a look at what we've built in 20 minutes. Now I say that the video was made and I had the PowerPoints ready. But often I find that's where, when I'm talking to people, that's the stage people are at. They say, yeah, I've got the video. I'm just not sure what to do next. Let's find it there. Choose one. There we go. Now, before I publish it, a couple of decisions to make. Under settings, do I want the learners to be able to skip around on the chapters, or do I want to let them go in any order they want? I usually let them go in any order they want, even if it's mandatory, because it will not mark as complete unless they've done it all. So I just find humans, and particularly adult learners, really like to be able to go in any way they want. In relation to showing course completion, that is when they log on, does it instantly tell them where they got up to last time? There's a button to do it, but sometimes people, the different styles of players, this more modern one is the one I'm going to choose, and my PowerPoint slides are yellow, so I might want to make this a bit more of a yellow colour. Let's see, you can choose whatever colour your branding is, which is obviously very important to most people. Okay, now click on Save with that. The next thing is tracking. What am I going to track with the learner? What's important to me? Is it that they got the questions right? Is that really all I need? Or is it that they've watched the video? Okay. When it's just watching the video, often I say, we can disable the fast forward button, which is a really important thing to be aware of, because with mandatory training, that can be really important that they've actually watched the video. And you can choose the percentage. So you might actually, I often make it about 90% because sometimes people just miss the introduction. So we click on Save. And then there's 3 ways to deliver it. SCORM. So if I had a learning management system, I could publish it and generate a SCORM file. LTI, or finally, there's something we call a share link. And a share link is you make it available through a URL. Now, this is ideal for people who don't have a learning management system, and you can use it 2 ways. One is you could make it public, so anybody could see it. Alternatively, you can make it private. Private is just people you've invited. So no one can see it unless they've been put in the system. And the third one is sort of a hybrid. Anyone can look at it, but they've got to put their first name, last name, and email so we can get some analytics. Okay, so I'm going to click on Publish, which will take a few moments to publish that all up. So what have I done? I've taken a 15-minute video where a chef is demonstrating how to process, or how to sharpen the knives. I realise as a learner that that's going to be a lot to take in. So instead of just giving them one whole video, I've broken it down into quite meaningful chunks, and then I've added some interactions. And let's have a look at what we can see. Now, remember I set it as the person had to put their name and details, so I'll put that in. Okay, this is what we've built. That yellow's horrible. This is what we just built in those few moments. The learner now has the different chapters, which I must have set it yes. So I'm going to unpublish that because otherwise I can't move around. Edit and lock, and I'm going to go to the settings and move around the chapters. So I didn't practice what I preached. I set them that they couldn't move around. So what the learner now is going to be able to do is do this on a mobile, any device, fully responsive. They're going to be able to work through the material. They're going to be given all the resources they need in one spot as a resource library. Now let's go and have a look now. And Tony, if you could just let me know if we can see that screen when I show the course. So here's the course. That looks fantastic. If it was responsive, all of these would go underneath. You might remember that I made a resource. So that's the resource button. There's only one in there, but that's what ultimately I've done. Now let's have a look. This is the second slide that I put in there. So I just took a PowerPoint template from Envato and added some images. Now we're going to watch the video. So it was next. Now it says play video because we're moving to the stage we're going to watch. Sorry, I just did that to your ears. I didn't know. There's the note that's popped up on the screen. Remember I said a note is the trigger to your brain. That's something important. Keep going. Actually stops the video, which is an important part of this process. The learner has to, again, here's the question. Today is Monday. So the learner is staying in one place where their learning journey goes from start to end. So we'll say today is Monday. We'll submit. That's incorrect. We'll make this one correct. Always remove the burrs. You can put images there to make that look a bit nicer. We'll get some answers. We keep moving through. Now, if you do have a situation where you got something wrong, up here where it says My Progress, you get to retry any of the questions that you might have not been able to, that you got wrong. All right, so specifically for tracking, it's important to know you've got to complete the 4 chapters and the 2 questions, and here you've got that question wrong. It tells you where it is, but you can actually click on it to retry. Keep going. And the video, that's the note that I popped up there that you can put anywhere on the screen. So it could be an image. You might want a PowerPoint to be going whilst the person's still talking. You can move around. You'll see each one I've put those PowerPoints at the front. If you're on an iPad, you might prefer to use this thumbnail style, which allows you to go through. And one of the lovely things is all the notes that you put in. This button up here, aggregate, so I only put 1 note in. If you click on that, it makes a, I mean, there's only 1 note there, but imagine if you had 10, 15 notes scattered throughout there. You've made a printout of the key takeaways that are available that you've put in the course. So just to sort of reiterate, and then I suppose the last thing, if we go back into VidVersity, if you were in their LMS, you'd get all kinds of granular data. Back in our platform, if you go back to the front, the admin person, whoever is allocated admin in the VidVersity platform, can go and gather all kinds of data. So they could go here where it says the progress report, and they could select the course they want, or all the courses. It's not a registered course, so I'm not going to get that. That was, remember, it was publicly registered. If it's privately registered, you can put in here and you get pretty granular data of how long they were in there, when they were in each chapter, and you can download all of that. Now, if you don't have an LMS, you could also use this as a way to, so I'm going to go back into here and just show you very quickly under sharpening knives. I'm going to make this now what we call a private course. So under share, I'm going to make it private, and I'm going to publish that. Now what I could do is I could upload bulk users, so 1, 5, 1,000. I could get an email generated to them to say, you've been invited to complete this course. Here's your login details. And then I get all the tracking. So if you don't have an LMS, you get a lot of the features. You can brand the emails that go out from you. You can track and see how your learners are going. And one of the nice things is you can keep changing the content in here. So we could add another chapter in there quite easily, which I'll show you how to do. And then we're going to gather that data. So back to this front page where it says import learners. I could now import a particular person. I could put their name and details in, and I could invite them to a particular course. And then I could say down here, email that new user. Alternatively, I could say, I'm going to let them know. I could then, so we just got to import that person and then go down here, and I'd like to enroll them. And I enroll that learner, and they will receive an email saying you've been invited to do this course. Now, on that note, a lot of our clients say they need to customize the emails. So we have the ability, you can customize the logo that goes with the email, you can customize the subject, the actual words, and you can even customize the reply email, because we don't want people getting confused and refusing to open something because the email is not what they expected or have ever seen. Now, let's assume we've built our course, but now what we've asked is we've had a guest speaker who came to us, or is not coming to us at the moment, and we've asked them to film using their phone a demonstration of how they sharpen their knives. As I said, I could have gone to them and said, download the iOS or Android app. Here's your login details. And I did this morning with someone. I said, can you just demonstrate how you do your knives? They uploaded it, and I got an email to say, here it is. So it's one of these. It's test sharp. It's in here. So that's it. So I could edit that a bit if I want, but I could also go to here and add it to my sharpening knives course. I could go into edit. So I've now added, I could add all those features. I could add a PowerPoint slide. Now, without even having to do anything for the learner, by unpublishing it and publishing it, now we've added another chapter. So think about that as a learning pedagogy. The link that you give to your students at the start has whatever's in it. You can keep updating it in a dynamic way. It's constantly being evolving. That real agile adapting to your cohort, adapting to your audience, I think is a really key part of being a great educator. And I think a lot of us don't use technology like that. We think, oh, that's the tech team, that I've spent all this money on the video. It's going to have to be the same, even though our HR manager is no longer that person. I think we need to think a bit differently and go, well, actually, we can make things really quickly, whether you decide to make it just using your equipment or you get in your videographer, whatever level you're trying to achieve. I still think we should think in that really agile way. So if you go down now, there's the video that was made with a phone this morning. So quite powerful. And one story I always tell that I used this concept of filming with a video was quite early on in the pandemic last year. I got a group of, I was working with a health organisation, and they were struggling with training in their language. And we realised there was many languages in the organisation. So just like we just watched there, I got a whole lot of people to film putting on PPE equipment in their own language. And can you imagine working in an organisation and getting regular updates in your own language? Such an incredible way to keep people informed and feel understood and heard in the business. So sometimes we do need to go to a real high level quality, but sometimes the speed of it trumps the need to have that real high end. And as phones are getting more powerful, I mean, I think Steven Spielberg last year made a movie on a phone. We're getting to a point that if you want to create content online and digital, you can do it yourself. And I'll just give a bit of a sort of my last tip before I finish off, and anyone's welcome to ask any questions. One thing I feel as we're getting more into the digital space, when you are building something for an audience and it's digital, talk to them. I find a lot of people I work with are very robotic and just give the facts. What can be really great if you're having a passive learning experience is the person acknowledging you exist. So, right, it can be as simple as, I'm now going to ask you to click on the link and read this document. It just acknowledges that the person's there. And I've been doing that more and more in all of the learning I'm creating. And you can see the learner feels, oh, they're talking to me, rather than this something that's going on in the background. So VidVersity is a tool that says, don't just make videos, make all kinds of interactions and things throughout your video, and really acknowledge the learner / customer, and make it it doesn't have to be entertainment, but effective learning acknowledges that a human is watching. So if you go in with that approach, and always think about how you like to learn. If someone just talks at you for an hour, can you really concentrate? Are you able to really take that in? So thinking all the time that there's a human on the other side can be a very powerful way to create learning. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. We've got some links in the, and anyone can have some the PowerPoints too. We've got some links in there. We run some workshops which are free, where we teach you how to create video, different styles of video, whether you want to interview someone, whether it's going to be 2 presenters, 1 presenter, what kind of resources that make things come alive. So we teach all that, all complimentary, and then we give you access to the platform. So I got some questions around how's VidVersity different from Thinkific. It's obviously it's a similar concept, but VidVersity the content doesn't sit in our platform. It can go anywhere. So it's one of the issues with Thinkific, it doesn't necessarily allow you to use it in SCORM and other LMSs. And the other thing is we're hosted here in Australia. So a lot of our clients are corporates who want the stuff in their learning management system. They don't want their staff to come over to Thinkific. They want it in their learning management system. And also they have to, for privacy and security reasons, they want it delivered only in Australia. So that's one of the things we regularly bump into is people say to us, I built my stuff in Thinkific, but my clients don't want it. I've got a big corporate client. We just did a big program recently who they've come out of Thinkific because their big corporate clients wanted it built in a platform that can be delivered in their own system. So I hope that. But there's many different ones out there, and I strongly recommend with technology that we all explore the different ones, and some are right. So I would say if you're an individual consultant and you want to build content and deliver it to clients through a paid platform, I think Thinkific's probably the better one for you. If you want to do stuff that is delivered to where security is really important and IP and all of that, and maybe in someone else's system, maybe that's us. So yeah, we've just, Carol, we've just put a link to our comparative table. But so they're kind of, so the reason I say that's quite interesting is a year ago I did a demonstration to a group of psychologists, and they decided to go with Thinkific, and they've just come back to us because that's not what they weren't able to get any traction inside their corporate clients. So they've moved it across to us, and they've already sold it to a number of big organisations because they're taking the SCORM file and putting it in the learning management system of the client, which means the learner gets all of their stuff in one central hub. I hope you found that useful. It was very brave of me, I thought, and I still don't know. I hope it came across okay. I thought what I really wanted to do is actually build something with you. So if you think about the process I just did, I uploaded that video this morning. I did edit the video. It took me about 10 minutes because I didn't think that would be great to watch me editing a video. And then I got someone to actually film something for me as well and upload it. But then we've just put it together. So I'm very, I'll just go back to the course. I'm very happy. Everybody remember that course is completely pretend. So I don't have any idea about knives. I've got not a clue and not particularly an interest either. But I just thought, so as I said at the start, think about how you'd like to teach and what you're trying to teach. And is this a way that we might be able to sort of help you think differently, think empowered. I want to empower educators to go, I can build content. I can build really great content. So I'm going to put the link to my sharpening knives in here. As I say, that is not a real course. That is completely pretend. But thank you so much, everyone. Technology is always a problem. Liz and I were co-presenting, which is why I wasn't great with the slides. She got booted off because the internet's no good there. But I hope you found that useful. Please sign up for our newsletter or anything. We're very, very keen to keep sharing ideas. We're trying to really ignite the imagination of educators so we can create really great learning here in Australia. So unless there's any questions, always happy to chat to anyone about this stuff. I could talk forever. I'm a passionate educator, and I think technology should work for educators, not the other way around. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to assume there's no questions, so I'm going to end it. Thank you.